Hare Krishna, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
Hare Krishna.
So let's start with Om Gyana prayers, right?
Yeah.
Om Gyana.
Om Gyana Timarantasya Gyanam Shalakaya Chaksho Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Tatachi Swapadan Chikam.
Jai. All glories to all our respectful spiritual masters, and may they support us sharing this empathic communication for the benefit of all the devotees of the Lord. All right, I wanted to start today with a question that what is it? What makes you to sacrifice this 1 hour every Saturday, already 11th time, for joining this empathic communication seminar or practice group? What?
Oh, I wouldn't like to have that recorded. That would be painful.
So, do you want to share now and then we start again, or what would you like? Shall I stop recording while you're sharing?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, welcome, Anuradha Mataji. Glad to see you online. I was asking question, what makes you to sacrifice this 1 hour on Saturdays, joining this empathic communication? What is it what you are getting out of it? Or
Hare Krishna. I don't think I'll be able to speak. Baby is a bit fussy, but let's see.
okay.
Well, for me, it's really important because it helps me to, well, if I want to progress in this Krishna conscious community in a loving manner with everybody, and this is a really important skill to have. It's Prabhupada wanted cooperation, and I see this is a really good way to get the cooperation, be able to cooperate with everybody. Oh, yeah, that's mainly it. I'll mute myself now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I feel very happy and inspired to hear that, and I'd like to share that this is also actually my driving force, that I would like to contribute to devotees' happiness and to please also my spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. So let's hope and pray that this humble attempt that we gather here on Saturdays will be at least a little bit pleasing for them. And today's topic is self-empathy. And I would like to first show some quotes. And I will try to start screen sharing. Where is the screen sharing? Here it is. Guess it's coming in a minute. Yes, is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes, let's take unnecessary things away. It's more clear now, right? So I wanted to start today with reminding us the goal, why we are doing it. And now there are some distractions here coming up. All right. And the goal of empathic communication is not to get others to do what we want them to do, but the goal is to fan the spark of empathy inborn in every living being. And just recently I was listening His Holiness Pure Krishna Goswami's Bhagavad Gita studies recordings, and Maharaj was stressing there again and again that the compassion or empathy is naturally inborn in every living being. It's existing on every living being's heart, no matter which kind of form of bodies the living beings have. And I was very happy to be reminded of that. The only thing is that often this natural compassion or empathy is covered with many layers of our upbringing and conditioning and association and just to name few coverages. So in this self-empathy quick reference guide, I have a few more reminders that I would like us to read before we go into topic itself. And I wonder, Janananda Prabhu, would you like to read this first one, this one?
Review. The purpose of EC, empathic communication, to create a quality of connection in which everyone's needs can be met through voluntary, compassionate giving.
Yes, thank you. Any thoughts, any comments on that description of the purpose of empathic communication? Something that stands up for you or is important, especially from that sentence?
Yeah, one thing which is some kind of highlighted for me is connection. To connect with other people, to connect with oneself.
Yes, thank you.
And through that, giving something which one has.
Right, thank you. I would add here that for me also connection is really, really important moment in our interactions with people. And in this description of purpose, I like that it's connected to voluntary compassionate giving, which helps me to be reminded that we have a choice every moment in our lives, whenever we want to admit it or not, because Krishna has given us all free will. That means we have a choice to choose where do we put our energy and what do we do with our time on this planet, in this body, right?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about this purpose statement?
Yeah, another thing which sticks out is that everyone's needs can be met. Not only oneself or some close to one, but everyone.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out too. That is also incredibly important moment, and everyone's needs again means again not only living being or not only human being, excuse me, but all the living beings needs, right?
Yeah.
Because we are all parts and parcels of Krishna, and Krishna loves all his parts and parcels. So I see that EC is helping us to be reminded of this and to really try to apply in our daily lives and put this love in the practice. Welcome, Damodar Kripa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
We were reading so far this review, the purpose of EC, and I wonder if you have any thoughts, anything that stands out for you from this statement here that you would like to share.
This is first thing for today, yes?
Excuse me, could you say again?
Is this first thing for today?
Yes.
Or it was something before?
We were sharing also the reason why each of us who is here is choosing to spend this hour on Saturdays on this empathy communication Sangha. So if you would like to share your reason also, you are very welcome.
Okay. My reason to have more opportunity to apply this, because one thing is theory, and my experience is the more we speak about this, the more we discuss it, the more we share it, the more we try to practice, the more we can apply it really in our life. But if you just read, not much happens, really.
Right. And there is probably a reason. Why is it important for you to be able to apply it in your life?
Because how to say, it helps devotees to stay in Krishna consciousness, to be in Krishna consciousness, and it helps others to come to Krishna consciousness if we act according like this, like Prabhupada, well, no, it was Prabhupada or some spiritual master, but it was the saying that, or Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati maybe, that devotees should always preach, and sometimes he can talk also. Yes, so how we behave, it's a big preaching.
Thank you. Wonderful. And do you have any thoughts or some outstanding moments from this statement? We were starting with this one in order to remind us the purpose of empathic communication.
Well, I don't know what to say actually about this. Good purpose.
All right. And thank you. And today's topic is self-connection or self-empathy, which helps to achieve the self-connection. And let's also, before getting into practice, let's read another sentence from here. Would you like to read the Mother Kripa Prabhu?
The most direct path to peace is through self-connection. Our capacity for peace is not dependent on having our needs met. Even when many needs are unmet, meeting our needs for self-connection can be sufficient for inner peace.
Thank you. This is quite a mouthful, it seems to me. So any thoughts or questions that this statement may bring up? Or questions?
Do I understand right that self-connection means when I understand my needs?
Yes, understanding, and I would say it's even more deeper, because in my world, understanding means intellectual understanding, but it goes even deeper. It have potency to go even deeper. It has potency to go really to the heart, to the core of our being, and to connect to our needs, to be present what is there in the core. Does that make sense?
It's more about like realizing, yes, more about feeling them, not only thinking.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anyone else has comments or thoughts or questions about this statement?
I feel like this could mean you practice perhaps because even though your needs are not met, you're satisfied and you're peaceful and you're happy. Could it be because you're practicing gratitude?
Gratitude for sure is a great thing to practice. And this is maybe even beyond that. For example, that for me, it means that the process itself, when we are creating this connection with ourselves, with our deepest values or needs, like we call them in frames of empathic communication, this process itself, it's like coming back home, like coming back from our mental level, our mind level, and connecting to really the deepest and the most precious part of ourselves. And this process itself can be very, very satisfying and grounding and fulfilling. And it's creating, as it says in this sentence, last sentence, that it can be sufficient for inner peace. It is like letting our roots deep into ground. Does that make sense?
Can I ask a question?
Please.
First, maybe if this is also possible to have this file to, because I would like to put inside some things and like my own corrections or what I understand. Maybe now you can send me if it's possible. No?
I didn't understand really. Could you please repeat?
Is it possible to have this text somewhere? Maybe you can send it to
Yes.
group.
Yes, it's a Word file, so I will post it afterwards in the group. Yes, thank you for reminder.
Maybe now you cannot do it. Just I would like to use this.
Okay, I will try to figure it out. Maybe while we read the next sentence, if there are more
And I
thoughts.
have another question also.
Okay.
If it's because I just heard that you said that in empathic communication we call needs, but actually you said that is values. Did I get it right?
Words are like a map. Words are never the territory itself. So in some context, one may use the word needs, in some context values, and for different people, these words also may mean different things. So for me, for example, it resonates the values that I really, for example, later on, and we also maybe looked already that how to express our needs more like in everyday language. And there was suggestion that one can use that instead of I need autonomy, one can use the words because I value autonomy, for example. So in my world,
so there is connection, but it's not like 100% the same. Yes, maybe not the same.
I would say that it's depending on person's understanding. Every one of us, we are living in our own world and trying to map the things or describe our experiences with the words that are available for us and that are kind of in our world resonating with our experience. So for some people, the needs and values may mean or point to the similar experiences. For some people, it may point to different things. So it's like relative, I would say. And in the frames of nonviolent communication and empathic communication, we have kind of agreed to map this territory with the words of needs. Does that bring more clarity or?
Not so clear still, but okay, I get some answer at least.
All right. Self-compassion. Krishna Maharaj uses words compassion and empathy as synonyms, that meaning the same thing. So I also interchangeably use these words compassion and empathy. So here self-compassion is meaning the same, like the self-empathy. And let's, before going to any practice, let's read that statement as well and see what it gives us.
Self-compassion. We aim to release all self-blame, self-judgments, and self-demands, and meet ourselves with compassion and understanding for the needs we try to meet through all our actions.
Thank you. Any thoughts, questions, realizations this brings up?
Yeah, it's good to get these blame, judgment, and demands taken away, because then one doesn't put more load on one's shoulders. One has to carry. So self-blame, self-judgment, and self-denial, that's normally what we are brought up with. That's what we should do with ourselves.
Mm.
Demand that we fulfill our quota, judgments that we might not be good enough, and blame for not being something else than what we are.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for wonderfully unpacking these terms. Any other thoughts, comments from? All right, and then let's go to this quote from His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami. It's from his book, Realizing Our Empathic Nature in Connection with Krishna. Would you like to read another Kripa Prabhu?
This what is marked, yes?
Yes, please.
Contrary to the misconception that empathy just means loving others, self-empathy has the greatest impact on our own heart. We should naturally love others because we are soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And if we desire to love Krishna, we have to love his parts and parcels, which includes us. So empathy begins with ourselves.
Wonderful. I so much love this reminder. Anybody has more comments, thoughts about this, or what stands out for you?
It reminded me of something I was listening to Mahatma Prabhu's, he has this short videos on YouTube, and there was one he was speaking about, because he does a lot of counseling, and I guess he studied psychology, so he was also speaking about sometimes we say things to ourselves that we would never say to others. So we say so much negative stuff to ourselves that when we are talking to others, especially like I know I do that too, when I speak to some devotees who are new to the movement, I give them so much encouragement. But when I put myself in the same situation, I think like, oh my God, I've been practicing for so long, but nothing's happening. But I wouldn't say that to them at all. I'd be like, no, you're doing great. So I guess this is what it reminds me of, that we need to love ourselves too.
Yes, thank you. That's wonderful sharing. I also have noticed that about myself, that I'm not that harsh with anyone else than with myself, and that's for me also a great reminder to begin with myself, to give empathy to myself. Any other thoughts, comments? And that brings me also to this moment that we are able to give to others only what we have, isn't it? We can give to others pizza only when we have pizza, right? We cannot give what we don't have. And the same thing with empathy. If we haven't got empathy enough ourselves, either by giving ourselves self-empathy or having some empathy buddies with whose help we are filling our empathy cup, we don't really have anything to give to others. And then our attempts to connect empathically with others, they may still work, but most likely they will not go very deep and be maybe even very sincere, because we are coming from some shallow place. We are not really connected deeply to ourselves and to our own needs. And therefore, I like this metaphor of when flying an airplane and they give instructions, safety instructions, then they say there that when this oxygen level drops and this oxygen masks are coming down, you first put the mask on yourself, and only then you will be able to help others. And I feel that empathy is so similar to these oxygen masks, that we first have to put this empathy mask to our own self, and only then we are able to help others. That was the point I wanted to make. Thank you, Anuradha Mataji.
How about the file? Can you send it now, or it's too
Yes.
comprehensive?
Yes.
Because I'm like, otherwise I would mark everything and plus what I have here.
You are asking.
Otherwise I just lose half important things. What I get.
So are you saying that for you it's very important to have these visuals at hand?
No, otherwise I should first write myself it, for like type it, and then extra here, and then extra type what comes from the dialogue.
Okay.
But if it's already this first part is done, then I have like just add what is coming in our discussion. Otherwise, I feel like stunned.
Would it work for you that I would just copy right now this one into
Sure.
WhatsApp text? That's within my capacity. I wouldn't be able to start to search how to send these files and etc. But I can copy it right now to our chat, and I hope it helps you with your needs.
Much.
Okay, thank you. I celebrate that you get your needs met, and I took care of my needs and contributed as much as I could at this moment, without what is it called? Without not taking care of my needs. And that was in the purpose, right? In which everyone's needs can be met through the voluntary, compassionate giving. All right, we managed. All right, as the next thing, I find very important to look into awareness of the energy that we have behind our actions. And I found wonderful part of the chapter in Marshall Rosenberg's book called Nonviolent Communication, Language of Life. And I would like us to, I guess it's quite lengthy part, but maybe we could somehow, okay, let me open it and then we see how much we can take and where do we make a break. Let me get back to the sharing. Here it is, the book. And I actually recommend really to, to get this book. I will take away these thumbnails and I then share it again. Oh, my computer somehow is not so willing to cooperate. Okay, now I'm there and I will share it again. All right. Yes, here it is. Can you see the whole text? Yeah, nothing is hiding it. Cultivating awareness of the energy behind our actions. You remember probably in earlier sessions, we were talking about putting demands on ourselves and others, and that in each and every moment in our lives, we have a possibility to choose. And how come? Very easy. Krishna has given us all free will, right? So by Krishna's mercy, we have this free will to choose. And it's important to choose according to our values, not according to whatever outside pressure it's put on us. And there are, Marshall Rosenberg is bringing up a few motivations that could be behind our choices or our actions. And until we are aware, or until we become aware what actually our motivations are, we are not able to change them. So I suggest that we start and read through at least part of each of these motivations and see if we recognize that we may do also things out of these motivations, and whether we would be inspired, maybe examine some other motivations or needs that are more important for us than this motivation. And first is motivation, doing things for money. Who would like to read this first paragraph? Thank you. I cannot actually, can you hear, Janananda Prabhu? I cannot hear you.
That was because I was muted.
Great, yes.
Thank you. Money is a major form of intrinsic reward in our society. Choices prompted by a desire for reward are costly. They deprive us of the joy in life that comes with actions grounding the clear intention to contribute to our human needs. Money is not a need as we define it in nonviolent communication. It is one of countless strategies that may be selected to address a need.
Thank you. Any thoughts about this motivation? Doing things for money. Does it resonate with you, or is it completely strange, this concept?
No, not really. From my many years of experience in the world outside ISKCON, there, when you have to maintain a family, you need a house, you need a car, and so on. Money is needed. What else is defined here in NVC? It's a strategy to maintain the family. It's a strategy to get the house one needs in order to get one of the needs, which is peace, covered. So yeah, it's not a need.
Right. Thank you. Let's jump into next one. For approval. Let's read it first. That far. Who would like to read?
I can read.
Thank you.
Like money, approval from others is a form of
Extrinsic.
extrinsic reward. What it means?
It means like outside motivation. It's not.
Okay. Our culture has educated us to hunger for reward. We attended schools that used extrinsic means to motivate us to study. We grew up in homes where we were rewarded for being good little boys and girls, and we were punished when our caretakers judged us to be otherwise. Thus, as adults, we easily trick ourselves into believing that life consists of doing things for reward. We're addicted to getting a smile, a pat on the back, and people's verbal judgment that we are good persons, good parent, good citizen, good worker, good friend, and so forth, and so forth. We do things to get people to like us and avoid things that may lead people to dislike or punish us.
Thank you. I find this other part also so important that let's read that one too. I will read that one. Thank you, Damodar Prabhu. I find it tragic that we work so hard to buy love and assume that we must deny ourselves and do for others in order to be liked. In fact, when we do things solely in the spirit of enhancing life, we will find others appreciating us. Their appreciation, however, is only a feedback mechanism confirming that our efforts had the intended effect. The recognition that we have chosen to use our power to serve life and have done so successfully brings us the genuine joy of celebrating ourselves in a way that approval from others can never offer. It's maybe I read this last sentence again. It was I didn't put the stresses correctly. The recognition that we have chosen to use our power to serve life and have done so successfully brings us the genuine joy of celebrating ourselves in a way that approval from others can never offer. All right, so that's quite big mouthful, I guess. This motivation to do things in order others to like us. Any short comments or questions about that? Realizations.
What is the meaning of last sentences? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to rephrase it. When we are recognizing that we have been using our energy in order to serve needs, either ourselves needs or others' needs, and our intention to serve needs has been successful, that brings us a natural joy, like celebrating that, yes, I did it. I was capable. I was able to meet my needs or serve my needs or someone else's needs. And this genuine joy is much deeper and richer and nourishes us deeply, comparing to that kind of outward approval or rewards what we are used to expect from other people. Did this make it more clear?
Yes, and this free things is rewards how we can for what we can do any activity. Yes.
Yeah.
Money, approval, and punishment is the rewards.
Yeah.
Or what is it?
Yeah, one can say so. Yes, rewards or motivations, right? Like external, outside, which come outside, not from the inside. We do it like in order to buy love or whatever, like it was mentioned here, right? Or to be accepted, or like on external motivations. Let's
By love, that never works.
Why doesn't it work? You have lots of experience, so maybe you can say yes.
Oh yeah, my former wife tried that too often with our children. So yeah, it never works.
Right. So you have first-hand experience that trying to buy love has actually high interests in the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to pay for it. Pay not in the paper money or gold, but pay in our relationships with resentment or with whatever. And for example, maybe some of you have also heard in your lives or some other sources that frustrated mother may say at some point when her children are grown up that, is that a gratitude that I have done for whole life? I have sacrificed all life for you and blah, 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 right? So this kind of buying love or doing things for the reason of outward motivations has strings in it, and we have to pay for it sooner or later. Thank you, Janananda Prabhu. So the third one, and then there is two more. Third one is to escape punishment. Who would like to read that one?
Some of us pay income tax primarily to avoid punishment. As a consequence, we are likely to approach that yearly ritual with a degree of resentment. I recall, however, from my childhood how differently my father and grandfather felt about paying taxes. They had immigrated to the United States from Russia and were desirous of supporting a government they believed was protecting people in a way that the Tsar had not. Imagining the many people whose welfare was being served by their tax money, they felt earnest pleasure as they sent their checks to the US government.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's quite obvious that quite many persons are trying to avoid paying tax. Nowadays, it's of course also constructed in a way that those who work hard, they get less and less for themselves after they have paid the tax. I mean, Denmark and Sweden are competing with each other to see which country can take the most tax out of people. So,
Excuse me, I will now interrupt you, my dear Janananda
okay.
Prabhu, because I know that this is your favorite topic because you are working in this area, serving in this area, but I have need to focus on the easy points right now, so I hope you don't mind that I...
No, that's okay.
Yes, thank you. So this is another outward motivation. We are doing sometimes things in order to avoid punishment, right? We may choose to pay taxes in order to avoid the consequences, to be punished by authorities, right? That was one example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the fourth one. Oh, there is a sixth also. The fourth one is to avoid shame. I will read it, that one. There may be some tasks we choose to do just to avoid shame. We know that if we don't do them, we'll end up suffering severe self-judgment, hearing our own voice telling us there is something wrong or stupid about us. If we do something stimulated solely by the urge to avoid shame, we will generally end up detesting it. So yeah, if we do something in order to avoid shame, then we most likely don't get any pleasure or liking out of these things. We do them from this kind of ulterior or external motivation just to avoid something, to get something. So it also has this kind of shallow result or strings attached to it. And I would jump to the next. To avoid guilt. Who would like to read that? them in the grip, Prabhu? Would you like to?
Just I finished some to write something. In our instances, you may think, if I don't do this, people will be disappointed in me. They are afraid we will end up feeling guilty for failing to fulfill others people's expectation of us. There is a world of difference between doing something for others in order to avoid guilt and doing it out of clear awareness of our own need to contribute to the happiness of a human being. The first is a world filled with misery. The second is a world filled with play.
Thank you. Any comments? All right, I think I jump further right now, and let's have a look at this conclusion that Marshall Rosenberg does here about these first 5 outward motivations. And he writes that be conscious of actions motivated by the desire for money or approval, and by fear, shame, or guilt. Know the price you pay for them. So Marshall Rosenberg is calling us really to be aware what we actually would like the result to be, and warning us about this price that we already mentioned a few times, that if our actions are made out from these outward motivations, then we have to pay sooner or later quite unpleasant and high price for that. All right, I would stop this one right now here. And any thoughts and comments before we try to do some little practice of self-empathy? And conclusion maybe from this okay, otherwise I will
conclusion could be, if you don't like it, don't do it.
Thank you. I really like it. It's so beautiful and short and captures it all. And I remember also His Holiness Pure Krishna Maharaj repeating that again and again, that don't do anything that isn't play. And here is maybe an example how we are using, how the words are simply the map and not the territory itself. Like for me, the word play doesn't work so much because whatever reasons. For me, the word joy is what describes it. So it's not about the words, but it's about to find what is really for capturing for each of us our experience the best way, and helps to describe it. Okay, I will thank you very much, Janananda Prabhu. I will share now screen with this exercise, and I would ask if any one of you would have objections that we would go a little over 1 o'clock, because we also started later, maybe until 10 minutes past 1. Would that be working for you? Okay, let's try. This is one example of self-empathy, and we can call it the expectations and demands of yourself, or transforming the expectations and demands on ourselves. And like Anuradha Mataji beautifully expressed in the beginning, that we may be most harshly connecting or communicating with ourselves, And that means we may have really heavy demands and expectations of ourselves. And this exercise is calling, I will also send this file later in our WhatsApp group, so you can continue doing it at home as a daily practice maybe. This calls to write down expectations, demands, or labels that you notice you are putting on yourself. And this could be things that you most often notice you say to yourself when you are judging yourself about something that you were missing, or you are not good enough of, or whatever. And helpful maybe to use this beginnings of sentences and fill in. And let's try right now to use these 3 beginnings of sentences, and let's try to guess then feelings and needs behind this demand or label or expectation. Anyone would like to fill in something in this first sentence? I expect that I would. What could be some of expectations you have on yourself, if you would like to share?
I expected that I would have been ready with the bookkeeping for last year by now.
Right. This is your expectation, and let's go to the next point and explore it. What needs are you trying to meet through what you are saying to yourself? When you are putting this expectation on yourself that, oh, I expect that I would have been ready with this thing, then what is your need behind that? What your needs you try to meet by saying it to yourself?
That's what I can't figure out.
Anyone else could help to guess? Could it be need for punctuality?
Is it a need?
Is punctuality a need?
So why would it be important for someone to be punctual? We can go deeper to find the need.
It can be a need for security, maybe, because, for instance, if I don't feel secure, for instance, myself when I have too many things undone or something. Yeah, like.
Yes, let's ask Janananda Prabhu. Could it be need for security?
No, not in this connection. There are other things I choose to do in time in order to get them out in the right order. And
Could it be need for structure and order, that you get things done in the time that you have planned? You don't have to fit it in. If it doesn't match, it doesn't match.
No, I haven't found anything yet which it just hits the right one, the right button.
Yeah, and therefore it's important not to try to squeeze when someone is giving us empathy guesses, or when we ourselves are searching for our needs. We don't have to squeeze ourselves into others or ourselves guesses if we feel internally that it doesn't match. If it doesn't match, it doesn't match. Then there is some other need that is behind that.
Maybe it's a need of freedom.
Yeah, could be.
Wonderful. Let's go for that right now, for the sake of keeping time. And then if we assume that this is the need for freedom, and what do you feel then when connecting to this need for freedom? How do you feel? And feelings are happening in our body. We can check out what is our body wanting to tell or point.
Then I feel safe.
All right. And next point, what can you then do in order to address this need for freedom? What could be the strategy that you joyfully can do?
Plan better.
All right. And there is, thank you. And there is note here about this last point that makes sure that these strategies are not such ones which can again turn into demands or add to the expectations, right? So one has to be careful with these strategies so that we don't put more load of expectations or demands onto our shoulders.
Can you give an example about it?
About
Last point.
about
For instance, what Janana Prabhu answered, is this from this Syria, or it was not overloading?
How do you, that can be only Janananda Prabhu tell to me, because no one outside can ascertain it. Janananda Prabhu, you said that the strategy could be to plan better. How do you feel? Does this strategy have potential to turn into demand or add more to expectations, or would that be helpful to
It can go both ways. I would say.
Would you like to say more? Like how come in one way, another way?
Well, the more you plan, the more you put expectations on yourself.
And the other way?
The other way could be that if you have less services which you have to do, or which you actually choose to do, then there might be space in between, so you also can have more fun.
Right. Thank you. Beautiful. Was it helpful, Damodar Priya Prabhu?
Yes. Okay.
It's 3 minutes more. Let's take one should. I think it's good should to look into it. By now I should. Does anyone have such should that you say to yourself what you should be or do or be achieved by now that you would like to explore here?
I guess it's me again.
Please.
By now, I should have finished my revisions of the 3-month reports.
Right. So what needs are you trying to meet by saying this to you?
That I'm a total failure.
So you are feeling, or you are. This is another kind of judgment you put on yourself.
Yeah.
That I am total failure. But when you say that by now I should have been finished this 3 months reports, is it that maybe need for encouragement, or need for inspiring yourself.
Yeah.
That rings the bell, yeah?
Yeah.
Need for motivating or inspiring yourself to get into it, okay? And what do you feel when I connect with this need to inspire, to motivate yourself?
I feel relieved.
Okay, thank you. And what can you do to, you feel relieved, yeah?
Yeah.
And what is the need behind that, being relieved?
That I can do it quite quickly if I concentrate on it.
So is it like need for clarity?
Yeah.
That when you now see what needs you were trying to meet, and it gives you feel inspired and relieved, and then it gives you clarity that it's actually not such a big thing. Correct?
Right. Yeah.
And what can you do to address this need? Now you got the clarity.
Focus on it the first thing Monday morning.
Ta-da! Thank you very much. I guess it's now time to stop here. And yeah, again, it's time just flies much more faster than I would like it to fly. But unfortunately, I'm not the controller of the time. So I would like to hear any feedback about today's session, any needs met or any needs unmet for you right now, if you reflect back on this session. And if you choose to share.
I have a question in my mind left.
Okay, please.
Because I don't know, sometimes it's like I kept in mind what Janana Prabhu said, but don't do it if you don't like it, yes. But sometimes it seems we should do things what we don't like. Otherwise, some things will be never done, you know.
So I hear
and
you.
I remember also Harishauri Prabhu, when giving seminar about management, he was also saying that Prabhupada was also very often just saying, do the needful, you know, just do the needful.
Yes. And do you notice the word needful, which consists the word needs?
Full of needs.
Yeah, full of needs. I would like to answer with one example that comes to my mind. My friends had a child. He was maybe 5-6 years old, and he was bumping the ball on the floor inside indoor. It was quite early morning, and he had fun to bump the ball on the floor. In another room behind the wall was the grandmother who was still resting. So the mom asked the boy that, I'm really concerned if Granny can have a rest when you are pumping the ball and it may make such a noise. So I wonder if you would be willing to bump the ball on the bed instead. And then the boy answered, to the surprise of the mother, I don't really like it, but I'm willing to. Does it make sense? Does it give the answer? That when we feel that our needs are cared, then even when we don't like maybe or when it's not maybe our favorite strategy that we are asked for or kind of supposed to do, we still may make the choice to do it And that comes from different energy than telling to ourselves, I should, I have to, I'm forced, there is no other way. Does it make sense?
Mm.
But it's the
Yeah.
same like the need for inspiration, yes? Or the need for some interpretation of others.
Yeah.
When it is fulfilled, when we have more power to do something what we don't like.
Yeah, exactly. When we are connected to our power to enrich lives, to ourselves and or others, then we can choose to do also things that we maybe wouldn't like so much, but because there is behind is this deeper need to contribute or to reciprocate, then we may choose to do it.
Mm.
Did this answer to your question?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. It's 1:15. I guess it's good time to stop here now, unless someone wants to share some feelings and needs, or needs met or not met by this session. And it's totally okay not to choose to do it. So I will appreciate my gratitude to all of you for taking again this hour out from your Saturday, because for me it's very important to share this beautiful method of empathic communication for the pleasure of our spiritual masters and Srila Prabhupada, and for the sake of hoping to contribute a little more to creating and deepening loving relationships between the devotees within ISKCON, but also the devotees who don't know yet that they are devotees. So thank you so much for contributing to my need for sharing it. And please accept my obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya, kripa sindhubhyavasya, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna, and have a very self-empathic week. Haribol.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Mm.